Okay. Rightio, welcome to Campbell's Comments Live. Something very, very different. Got one person in Melbourne, two Kiwis. Not even sure if they're both on the North or the South Island. Firstly, Mark Hughes, welcome back to Campbell's Comments, mate. Thank you for trying something different.
Yeah, good evening, Paul. Good evening to Stacey and Cameron. Yeah, always willing to try something different, mate. You know that. And that's how we've successfully built a brand with you over the last 12 or 18 months by being a little bit left of centre. So, yeah.
I did say to Stacey that we're very green. I don't know if she's got the Facebook up or not. And I do encourage people, if they want to fire any questions in, please fire questions in. We want as many questions as we can. But I said to Stacey, we're very green. I was trying to do the right thing. It gets a bit hard. It's almost like the Brady Bunch, our setup, but it'll be fine. Stace, as I throw to you, now you're a half Australian, half Kiwi, so that's okay. But I'll actually get you to introduce Cameron as well and just give the people a bit of a brief run through of one, Cameron's role and where he's going to play with Woodlands, and also get a bit of a background from you, if you don't mind, once Stace is finished.
Hi, Paul. Great to be here. Cameron and I are actually both South Island based, the better of the two islands in New Zealand. So great to be here. Cameron is coming on board with Woodlands for the upcoming season. He's going to be helping us out with a bit of sales work. So he'll be getting around the breeders and talking to them about our stallions. Obviously, we've got a pretty good lineup. So hopefully he has a lot of success and has an easy product to sell. We like to think so anyway. Cameron and I actually also went to school together, which we were in the same year at Mount Hart College. So just a fun fact for everybody.
But that's because New Zealand's just a small island, isn't it? All right, Cam, Stacey's not going to throw to you. You are just come on to the Woodlands under the Woodlands banner, but previously, what have you done? Where have you come from?
Well, of a mixed bag, really, in the last few years. What I did previously, I was actually working my last kind of horse-related role. I jumped into PGG rights, and once the guys left to NZB, and I was pretty much seeing if we could make something happen there. But unfortunately, they just didn't want to put the time in, which was fine. So I decided, for their sake, it was probably best for them to pull stumps on it, and NZB's doing a fantastic job, actually, which was great. So, yeah, that's my last horse-related role. Obviously, my wife, Jessica Young-Grant, she's a trainer-driver over here, so we've got a few horses at home as well. So, obviously, pretty interested in following what's going on, and really enjoy the breeding side of it. So, when the job popped up, I thought, we'll have a go, and I'm really looking forward to getting on board with Woodlands, and I've got a really good product, and I think we can do good things together.
So, did you train horses yourself? Drive horses yourself?
No, I'm a bit of just a stable hand, we'll say.
Yep.
I do a wee bit of driving, just a wee bit, but more of a stable hand. Leave the boss up to that.
And from the breeding point of view, have you done anything a lot in that way, like you've done through the sales, but through the breeding point of view?
So, breeding-wise, we're just breeding one a year at the moment. We've bought a few at the sales as well, so we're really only just starting off. I think our oldest, we've got a couple of 3-year-olds there. I bought another 5-year-old the other day, so we've got a few on the books, which is good. So there's nice horses floating around, so we thought, why not?
You've got the methane jacket on. Stace, we've already got one comment from New Zealand already, but he's just requesting, is Cameron going to be your boss?
We haven't actually worked out the structure of everybody yet, but possibly.
It's actually from Nigel Armstrong. That's why I said about the methane, because he's on the committee, I think, at that track. Is that right?
Yeah, both of us.
Yeah, he gave me a bit of grief about that today when I saw him, actually, Nigel. So thanks for that, Nigel. Second time in one day. That's great.
We've got quite a few people on, and including Nigel, but please fire your questions in. We've got Jenny Gallagher. We've got a lot of Australians on here as well, and the New Zealanders that do want to find out a little bit about what's going on with Woodlands. There's been some good announcements happening. I find it's a great organisation to deal with. I think, Cameron, you're going to have a lot of fun. I believe the boss is even sitting at home watching this on Facebook. Whether he fires a comment in, that'd be interesting if he actually was to fire a comment in. But I thought it was a very progressive stud to work with, and it's a lot of fun. You must be looking forward to it, Cam.
Oh, very much so. I said I've known everyone at Woodlands for a little bit now. I was on the Sire Stakes board actually for a little bit with my role at PGG, so I met Andrew there, and we obviously got along really well, which was really nice. And I met the Kennies as we kind of went as well. So, no, the PGG role was really good for me, and just to really get involved within the industry and get known to a point. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to jumping on board now. So it's going to be really good fun.
Martin Pearson, I done an interview with him the other day, and he's very, very passionate man. He is. He can drop more sponsors' names than I can, and that's saying something. I haven't met someone better than me, but he is better than me going forward. That's for sure.
I was actually talking to him. I talked to him the other day. I said I watched his interview. Martin and I get along pretty well. We're pretty good friends. So you're right. He's very good at his job and very passionate. Very passionate. He
is indeed. Hughesy, we might start off with the Stallion roster for a start for next year, and your thoughts firstly on it, and it is pretty much the same boys as last year.
Yeah, look, so it's effectively the same crew as last year. We've kept our stallion prices the same as last year, with the exception of American Ideal, who has gone up. There's no qualms about his price going up. He's quite easily the best shuttle stallion coming to Australia again this season. So in the pantheon of stallions, he's got 145 million on his books now. So he quite easily fits into a $10,000 service fee. There's no stress about that. And just on him from an Australian perspective, he's got 140 bookings already here. So I would say to you, I'm not far off closing his book in the next week or so. So anybody out there that wants to touch base with me to breed to him needs to do it sooner rather than later. And look for another Group 1 winner for him last Friday night at Gloucester Park. Just continues a massive theme for him as a stallion, particularly in Australia, over the journey. And look, we've decided that, in fairness to all our breeders, that our prices are staying the same as last year.
Stace, one of the things I found recently at the weanling sale, a lot of the people commented, Brecon Farms and a few of the other people made comment about the fact there was no American Ideals won at the weanling sale, and not as many of them around. He's a really sought after boy, isn't he?
He is. It's been a bit of a funny market here in New Zealand. He's always been punching above his weight and doing a really good job, but possibly doesn't get the same traction as what he does over in Australia here. He is having one of his best seasons here in New Zealand this season, so that's really good to see. He's the second sire overall on our pacing ranks, so he is always thereabouts, and it's surprising that he probably doesn't get the results that he should here in terms of sale prices and things, but definitely this year's been a big year for him, both sales and on the track. So I think buyers, trainers, owners and breeders are getting on board, and I've already had quite a few bookings to him this season compared to the last couple of seasons. So yeah, we don't know how much longer he'll be around for, so definitely encouraging breeders to make the most of him.
Shannon Nixon from Nixon Bloodstock over here, he put a tweet out about midway through the year, wasn't it, Mark? And basically said, is there any stallion that's improved as much as what American Ideal has? And it's a great question, because I think the answer's no. I really do. I think the way he's come of age, and the WA, Mark, you said there before, the West Australians just love him, don't they?
Yeah, look, it's very rare that he doesn't get a winner at Gloucester Park on a Friday night, and just as a rule gets 4 or 5 winners over there a week. And one key thing about him, and it's often fairly understated, is like his Australian dollar breeding average for foals in Australia is close to 50 grand. So for everyone that makes the races, the average return's 50,000. So you're talking about a stallion that over the journey has returned probably up to 5.5, 6 times, 7 times his service fee.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's a dude actually too. I've got some great video footage. I've got to sit down with Kath McIntosh and do it all, but he's quite a bit of a dude in himself. Talk about Kath McIntosh, Mark. I'll stick with you just for the sec, but lather up. He returns for his second year, and you'd have to be very, very excited.
Yeah, look, generally excited about him coming back. He'll be 12 months older. His body will have let down a lot more. He'll be a different boy for the one that we saw last year. Equal fastest horse in the world, 46 horse, out of a mare that's had 10 of the races for 9 winners. It's a family of millionaires. So lot to like about Sudsy, as we call him. His pedigree is a little bit different, but he's got, you know, two of the most dominant strains in his pedigree in the Southern Hemisphere, in obviously Bettor's Delight and In the Pocket in the last 20 years. So I'm genuinely excited about him. One of the keys to him as well, and like all of our boys, mate, he's highly fertile.
Yep.
So no second guessing with a horse like him. He's highly fertile.
One thing, you'll be hoping that you can get to see him about the same time as me anyway this year, instead of having to sit there in quarantine last year and suffer through it. But he's a beautiful horse. But I think the key part to it too is a grandson of Bettor's Delight. So there's a lot of stallions standing this year that are sons of Bettor's Delights. He even goes another level further across and makes for different breeding crosses, which is key, I think, the way the breeding line is going this year. Or at the minute, sorry, not just this year.
Yeah, I think so. Look, the reality is that we know there's going to be any amount of Bettor's Delight sons in the market down here. And, you know, maybe, just maybe, it's a grandson that is going to carry his mantle. Look, genuinely excited about this horse. Like, he's a 46 horse. He owned the Grand Circuit at 4 up there. He made a lot of money, and he's a gun barrel straight pacer. Go back and have a look at his videos, guys, when you get a chance, and look at the straight line he carried at the end of his speed when he went 146. You know, one of these horses, again, where everybody laughed at us when we bought Sweet Lou down. I've got a funny feeling we're going to have the last laugh there. I reckon Lather Up's very different again. Lou's paved the way for Lather Up and always be Mickey. And I just think that Lather Up's just going to be one of these little surprise packets that will deliver on all stages, New Zealand, Australia and North America.
You're throwing the segue. You're rowing this boat at the minute. You're going pretty good here, Marky. We'll go with Sweet Lou. So we've got some great stats coming out from Sweet Lou at the minute. These stats in America, they're a little bit different, aren't they, to get your head around? But he's had 101 foals for 46 starters. Considering they only raced about a month ago, some people can get a little bit confused with that. But they class a starter over there as either a race or a trial. 17 of those are winners, and 16 of those are in 2 minutes or better. He's not just doing it here in Australia and New Zealand, he's doing it back there in America. Isn't he, Stace?
Yeah, for sure. He's a sire that we're really excited about. He's got some big crops coming up, and the trainers are talking them up, so we can't wait to see them hit the track. And I believe his stats in America, the only other sire that's got more starters and trial/race winners as 2-year-olds is down by the seaside at the moment. So no, Lou's doing a really good job over there, so it'll be exciting to see these next couple of crops. But I mean, even you look at a horse like Spirit of St. Louis over in Queensland at the moment, and the job he's doing, like Luke McCarthy has huge raps on him, and I know they're gunning for a start in, is it the Rising Sun?
Yep.
That's coming up over there. So it's going to be really exciting to see what he can do once he's in those big races.
I'll say too, another forgotten horse, probably because he was on his worst behaviour the overnight at Menangle, but is Aladdin, Greg Norman's horse. A lot of excitement around him, and people forget about how good he actually is. What he did in the South Australian Derby was just sensational.
Yeah, look, he's a very nice horse as well, and he's on the way to Brisbane. Woodlands bred and raised critter as well. So, yeah, look, Lou's biggest crops that have come. Lou has a staggeringly good crop of 2-year-olds in North America this year. He actually has there's a colt who is a half brother to Captain Treacherous who'll debut at the Meadowlands this Saturday night, Sunday morning our time. Lou dollar average is staggering. Lou's yearling sale prices this year were very, very high in Australia, particularly in Sydney, Brisbane, and Perth. Lou, I think, when all said and done, will have a fairly big say in the sire ranks going forward. You've got to remember he bred, you know, a couple of crops of 200 mares back to back here and in New Zealand, and, you know, a very strong number last year. So there's going to be a lot of Lou's in the system very, very soon.
Definitely there.
The other good thing.
Sorry, Stacey, go ahead.
The other good thing about him, sorry, Paul, is he's actually crossing with a lot of broodmare sires. He's getting winners by all sorts of different broodmare sires, which is also a really good thing. Obviously, we brought him in as an outcross sire, so really good to see him getting results with not just Bettor's Delight. He's obviously got terrific stats with Bettor's Delight mares, which was a main, I guess, initiative in bringing him here. But he's also Actually, I think last time I checked in North America, he had a 95% foals to winners crossing with Bettor's Delight over there. So doing good in both hemispheres. But he's also, your Christian Cullens, your Art Majors, all of those other broodmare, Rock and Roll, Hanover. He's crossing well with those as well. So yeah, a really good sire, and I think he's going to make a huge impact on the industry in Australasia going forward.
And the other very key thing to do with this horse is the fact that he throws a lot of bling, Stace. So when you go to the yearling sales, everyone likes that bling. Cam, your mic is muted. I think you've muted it now. You unmuted. Oh, he's onto it. He's actually got it. But they're easy horses to sell the Sweet Lose, aren't they, Cam? Because of the way they do appear. And I find the ones I've seen that don't have the bling, they're generally standouts themselves anyway. You just stand back and look at them; they look a treat. So.
Oh, absolutely. They definitely look a picture at the sales, that's for sure. However they throw, so very nice looking horses.
They are indeed. That half rubber to Captain Treacherous, anyone wanting to know, is JM Final Treasure. It's a mouthful and a half, but yeah, that's his name. So be looking out for him. He qualified in 153, as Mark said there before. Stace, I'll throw to you with Seaside. Actually, you mentioned there before about his stats, and they're just unbelievable, aren't they?
Incredible. I mean, there's still a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he could have got off to a better start than what he has over in North America so far. I think what did we work out? He's got 116 foals, had 62 starters for 27 winners, either at the trials or the races, and 24 of those are in 2 minutes or better. So he's really flying the flag. Like I said, the next best to his 27 winners is Lou, who's on 17, so he's 10 clear at the moment. The trainers here are talking them up. The breakers, not just the trainers, but the breakers are saying how good they are to deal with. Typically, the Sun Beach Mac 3 line can be a little bit hot. But trainers are saying they're willing, they're easy to work with, and they want to do it. And good gated, which of course he was too. He broke a record on a half-mile track. And for a big horse, that sort of shows what gait he did have, and he's obviously leaving that in his foals. So yeah, we're really excited. One of the trainers I sort of always mention is Robert Dunn. He brought one of our ones actually from Woodlands at the Weanling sales last year, and he was so happy with it after it had been broken in that he bred 2 mares to himself. So that's a pretty big rap for a trainer like Robert Dunn to support a sire that way and breeding his own ones.
Absolutely, Cam. I don't know if you saw that win on the half-mile track, but it's one of those races you should always go back. It'll be on the website of when you go into the woodlands.co.nz and you go to Down by the Seaside, you'll actually sit there on the half-mile track. The guy sitting in the sulky is just brilliant.
They're always interesting over there. They're a little bit different to what we have over here, aren't they? So it's quite a good watch.
And they were flying. Mark Hughes, this horse has a very interesting nickname. I forget it every time I talk to you, and I do forget it. But I did see a horse the other day at Lee Miles's place. I can actually say that. And I honestly, when it got up over the hill, I was like, what is that? And it was a Down by the Seaside, and it was built like a tank. I don't think his name's Tank, but it's very close to that, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very close, not far away. His nickname's Rocky.
That's right.
So, and look, that sums him up. Spectacular looking, strong, animal. Great racehorse. Just ticks any amount of boxes. If you track his race form as a 2 and 3 year old, it's probably not too dissimilar to what Captain Treacherous did in some regards. This horse is crazy fertile as well. Another reason to breed to him. Staggering amount of mares that go and foal to him the first cycle. Remember the first time they collected him, they couldn't actually count it off the machine because it was just so good. So, and look, those numbers are staggering in North America. He had a 54 winner already, a filly, one earlier in the week. I know there's a couple in tomorrow at the Meadows for him. Ron Burke's on board here with him, which is a key sign. And at the back end of the yearling sales in North America, last year they were paying upwards of 200,000 for him. So I think for a long time we've been high on this horse. And I sense that, early doors and sale result wise, I think we just might be on the right tram. But as Stacey says, There's always a bit of water to flow under the bridge yet.
Absolutely. I think the one thing key with the North Americans, a lot of the trial winners, and they were trial winners, were the fillies. And they really looked very, very impressive. Some of those filly I've got to watch. Again, if you follow Woodlands on the socials, you'll get to see a lot of those videos come up all the time. And they just looked strong, like built like he was. We spoke there before about American Ideal and his figures, before I go on to the last bloke there, but his figures this season so far is 102 foals, 54 starters, 13 winners, and 12 of those are in 2 minutes. Basically speaks for itself on the back of what you were saying there before, Mark.
Yeah, look, early doors in North America, his 2-year-olds are up and rolling. But staggeringly, he's been a great 2-year-old sire there for a long time. What we've noticed this year is perhaps a lot of those 2-year-olds seem to be spread amongst, he's owned New York for a long time as a 2-year-old sire, but they seem to be spread in Ohio and Pennsylvania this year. So I think you'll find a few more of his progeny going to be staked for a lot better 2-year-old racing up there this year. So very interesting. And look, the boys in terms of that, I would say to you, American Ideal, Lou, and Seaside are going to have a fairly big, early doors. Their numbers are very strong up there for the 2-year-old season ahead, and that's what we're excited about, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the last one we're going to highlight actually here is Cameron. I hope you're a trotting man, mate, because I am. I absolutely love me trotters. And what the hell, he's doing a great job already with his first crop in America.
All right, I've got a trotter, so that's all right.
That's a good start.
I'm going to breed one, I think, this year, so we'll have a go. Definitely good fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, his stats are amazing. 102 foals, 53 starters already. Do they do it differently, Stace or Mark? Do they do it differently in America with the trotters? Do they start them at the same time as the paces, do they?
I think so. Mark?
Yeah, they all start at the same time. You look at any US program at the moment, and there's a trotter and pacing races on for them. A lot of what the Hills, he was in Ohio. Ron Burke's got a couple as well, so I'm hearing he's high on them. I also heard on the grapevine that Jimmy Tacton might have a very good one. So if he's got one, then we'll well and truly be on the way with him. One thing we've noted already, like he's got some. It's sort of like a carnival showground sort of style racing up there at the moment, through some of the fairground tracks they call them. He's already had a couple of winners on those tight little tracks in 2 minutes already. Yep. So I guess we call it the back of beyond for us over here, but staggeringly good early numbers for him as well. So and look, we're high on the horse. You saw his sale results in New Zealand this year were quite phenomenal. $190,000 trotting yearlings for him. Strong numbers in North America and strong sales here, particularly at the nutrient sale in Melbourne. So delighted to have a horse that actually shuttles and he's not frozen. So I'd suspect for him as well, he's going to have another fairly solid year down here. And obviously with his father being the greatest trotting sire of all time, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere, and not excluding the job that Live U's done in Europe. He may be one of his, a likely successor, hopefully, to his father.
Yeah, and the other part, Stace, Mark said there about the yearling sales, it wasn't just the yearling sales, weanling sales. They were getting them out, they were walking them, they were looking at them. People were really keen on them, and especially to try and grab that bargain as a weaner.
Yeah, for sure. The Australasian market is very much decided by our trainers. They're pretty important in our breeders and owners' decisions and what they breed and buy. And the trainers are only saying good things about them. A lot of comparison to the Muscle Hills in terms of they just want to go out and trot when they're breaking in. They have pretty effortless gaits and they are very willing to do it, great attitudes. So I think that's coming through a lot, that the trainers are sort of talking them up, which then encourages the breeders to breed them and the owners to buy them as well. So only encouraging things about him so far. I've got my own one on the way. It's due in November, so I'm very excited to see what we get there, hoping for a colt, but we'll see what happens.
Very good. I was about to say to the Kiwis, anyone in Australia or New Zealand, please fire any questions through. Stace, before I go on to Nigel's comment here on social media, he froze a stamp. What the hell froze a stamp? And a couple of the old guys years ago told me the best way to pick a stallion is a stamp. Now that stamp could be anything. It doesn't matter what technically what it is, as long as it is something that shows all the way through. Bettor's Delight probably flies in the face of that. A lot of people will say, but I'd probably turn around and say, well, he's got the biggest ticker going, because they all seem to be able to run. You don't get many that don't run. But What the Hill, you can nearly pick them as they're walking past you, especially as yearlings. Maybe as weanlings is a bit tricky, but as yearlings you can definitely pick them as they're going past.
Yeah, he is really leaving his mark on his progeny. I think I've only seen one that's not a bay, which he's bay himself. So, and generally they all sort of have a white star. But we've had numerous people who've seen the sire that have said that they've never seen a standardbred stallion as good looking and as great a type as what he is, which is a testament to the sort of horse that he is, and then he's leaving that in his foals as well. So he's a really exciting sire, and obviously he's out of a full sister to Majestic Sun. Mark obviously touched that he's obviously by Muscle Hill, but I mean he combines two of our greatest trotting sires in Australasia at the moment. So I mean hopefully he can do it on the track. All signs are pointing in that direction. So yeah, we're really excited.
Cameron, one thing, the more people you talk to, the more things you learn. I spoke to Anton Galino. We did a live yearling parade for Yabby Dam Farms, and I asked Anton what he looks for at a horse, and he said ears. And that's the one thing I love about the What the Hills is their ears. I don't know why, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but Anton said he really likes looking at their ears, and that's one thing, ever since I've spoken to him, I've looked at the What the Hills, and they have beautiful ears. They really do, and they're always forward.
There you go. I can't complain with that. It's definitely an interesting way of looking at it, but he obviously knows what he's doing, so they got nice ears. That's the way to go.
He's got a good eye. It was just, yeah, but and I've heard a few other people turn around and say it since. So it's not something solely to Anton, that's for sure.
Hey, Paul.
Sorry?
Has Nigel told you that he's breeding his own What the Hell, Nigel Armstrong?
John talked me to sending a mare to What the Hill this year, another done recommendation. So that's exactly what he spoke about. So yes, you're right, Stace. So I appreciate Nigel.
Do you know, I think that could be one of What the Hill's greatest challenges is what sort of foal he'll leave out of Madame Sass, which is Nigel's mare. She lived up to her name. She was very sassy and liked to gallop a lot more than she liked to trot. So the resulting foal is going to be very interesting. We'll see what we get.
Good on Nigel.
What to say about What the Hill is he's left progeny that are very correct. And one of the knocks on the Muscle Hills down here has been their legs. But What the Hill's legs, and these are comments to us at weanling sales and yearling sales, how correct his foals are. So you know, we all see things differently and sometimes through rose-coloured glasses, but that's the feedback we've got over the journey this year, weanling sale and yearling sale wise, about What the Hill progeny.
There is actually one more, Speeding Spur. Now, Speeding Spur's price, has he gone up or is he still the same as what he was?
No, he'll stay the same. He was 3.3 last year, so obviously with the discount it winds back to tick over 2.5. So we'll make a little bit of an announcement about him further down the track for him going forward. But, you know, suffice to say, very few colonial bred stallions down under, trotting wise, that have made over $1 million. And that's what Del Boy did. He won Group 1s in Australia, New Zealand and the United States. Tough, warrior, great pedigree. You know, he won Breeders' Crowns and Derbies at 3, and then he was still punching at 8 in North America, winning races. What a great racehorse. So excited for his return, and it's one that we, you know, the farm bred and raised, and no one wanted to buy it a yearling sale, then turn around and won over $1 million for the farm. So, and the syndicate. So now we get his opportunity at Stud, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more of an announcement on him in the next fortnight.
Still one of the great pictures. I've seen the pictures with them both out on the island, Dad and Mum together in the paddock in their retirement. I think it's one of the best things. I don't know who done it, Stacey. You can put your hand up and claim it, or whoever come up with the idea of taking a photo and putting it on social media. But yeah, it just shows how much studs do really care. But to have them both in the same paddock, I reckon it was a cracking photo. It was very, very good. Stace, Nigel's already declared. You've heard it here on Campbell's comments. I'm not sure of the date or the time, but the horse that hasn't even been conceived yet is already a champion. So it's Nigel's gone early.
Well, she's been conceived. It's due to foal this coming season, so at least she has conceived, I suppose. But we are looking for. I had a small share in Madam Sass when she raced, and she had plenty of ability when she wanted to do it. So no, it'll be a very exciting foal. So hopefully it wants to trot.
I apologise for that. I actually thought he's sending his mare this year to him, but that is key. Stace, I wanted to get one picture up, and I'm kicking myself for it. But at the recent Jules day, there was a beautiful photo of yourself and some of the other girls from the stud. And I'm not going to go through the other three names because I've forgotten two of them, so I'm not even going to say the other one. Ripping photo. One, the Jules day, to be getting out and getting dressed up must be key. But also, Woodlands had a beautiful day, or ripping day, but the Woodlands Syndicate on top of that even had a better day.
Oh yeah, Harness Jules this year was one I'll remember forever. We had a great day, always a good day at the Jules. I think it's a day that the whole industry looks forward to, and it was good to see there was actually quite a few Australians that managed to get over. Obviously the Victorians didn't manage to get here, but plenty from New South Wales. Gary Hall Senior, I saw him, Greg and Sky Bond, they all came over, and there was actually also a lot of thoroughbred presence there as well, being a Sunday. So it was a great day. The weather was a bit touch and go, but I mean the racing made up for that. No one really worried too much about the weather. And yeah, Woodlands had a phenomenal day. We had Need You Now, who managed to win the 4-year-old Diamond against Amazing Dream. She's been runner up to it I don't know how many times, so to actually finally win one was incredible. I've got a small share in the syndicate, so it was my first win as a Group 1 owner for the small share that I've got, but words can't describe how great it felt on the day. There may have been tears. But Woodlands actually sponsored the race too, so we were sort of accepting the trophy on behalf of ourselves. So yeah, great day. But also not just her, we had three other syndicate horses racing, so just to have them there was huge. But Life's a Beach, she got second, flew home to get second to Better Twist, went great. And Kaching was probably the dark horse of the day. Like, she's been going good races, but Jules is the best of the best, and she was a long way back turning for home and ducked and dived and weaved her way through and flew home for fourth. She's no lady, didn't take part after galloping behind the gate, but I mean, take nothing away. We had a great day, and one that will be hard to top for sure.
Can people get involved in the Woodland Syndicate?
Yes, for sure. What we try and do is stagger people coming into it so that it's fair in terms of stake money and keeping up with training fees and all of that sort of thing. But for sure, we're always willing to hear from people who might be keen. We've got obviously some really great horses in there at the moment racing, and we've constantly got young ones coming through as well that we put into the syndicate. So if anyone is interested, feel free to get in touch with me, email or phone, and yeah, we're more than happy to get you in there, and you can be part of the fun.
If anyone from NZ and Harness Racing New Zealand is watching and all the rest, and you get all this talk about will the Jules go or won't it go or whatever, keep it going, because I loved it sitting back here, and I think the time slot nearly works. Maybe just move it a little bit forward to try and get a little bit better weather, but you know, sitting back, I absolutely loved it. Would have liked to have been there, but my ticket was never stamped, unlike the bloke sitting next to me. But well, he's not actually sitting next to me, he's right up the other side of the picture, but it just looks a day that I want to get to. And I reckon a lot of Australians after the other day, because especially Victorians, because we were in lockdown, we had nothing else to do, tuned in and watched it, and it was just brilliant coverage.
Yeah, Cameron actually came along as well, so he was part of the Woodlands table. Cambridge Raceway, big shout out to them, they do a great job running the Jules. They had us in a marquee, we had unlimited champagne all day. It wasn't hard to fill Mark's seat when he couldn't make the plane, I'll be honest. Sorry, Mark. But no, they did a great job. And like I say, the weather let it down a little bit, but take nothing away from everything else. It was a really good day, and yeah, who knows what's going to happen going forward with the jewels, but time will tell, and I'm sure whatever happens that it'll be great for the industry, whichever way they decide to go. I'm sure
Absolutely,
they'll make the right decision.
I hope so. Cameron, do you know your name is causing me no end of grief all of a sudden? I do a New Zealand show with Cameron Bray. We have Cameron Kirkwood, who works for Northern Rivers Equine, who actually work in conjunction with Woodlands, and now yourself. I'm like, was it just the number one name for the year you guys were all born, or how does it work?
Oh, well, if you've watched the sales, I've been a part of the sales for the last couple of years as a bid spotter for NZB, and obviously we have Cam 1, 2 and 3, so it's always a bit interesting when me and Cam Kirkwood on the floor and Cam Bray taking the bits, so we all get along very well. And you're right, I was looking forward to this coming up tonight, because Cam's obviously your favourite name at the moment.
It's actually not. It confuses me no end. Cameron Bray, or Cam Bray as he likes to be told, is clearly not the same age as you other two, because his hair is receding that much behind what you see on the picture. He's very convenient. He actually bobbed his head the other day on a Zoom meeting. I wish I had have hit the click. It would have been ideal timing, but that is key. Stace, what else have we got from the New Zealand over there? Any other announcements for the people at home?
Announcements.
Anything else? I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm asking.
No. I think we've pretty much covered everything. The only thing I'd say to New Zealand breeders is obviously Bettor's Delight is extremely popular here. I took a lot of bookings after the New Zealand sales. Obviously, he had another phenomenal sales here. So all the commercial breeders are pretty much booked in. But if there's anyone else thinking of sending a mare to him, I would suggest to get in touch shortly, because he will close at some point. So definitely get in touch if you're looking to send your mare to him.
And is that the same for Australia, Mark, with Bettors?
Yeah, look, he's in terms of what he will cover here, it'll be in triple figures, but probably around the 110 to 120. He's got 75% of that covered already, so it wouldn't be in the not too distant future working towards his book being shut. For the King at the tender age of 23, still keeps getting it done, So yeah, quite phenomenal. There's no words for him, I guess.
No, there's actually not. Cam Grant, how do people get in touch with you from New Zealand if they want to ask any questions in regards to Woodlands?
Well, obviously, I've got a new email on that now, which I think will get circulated soon enough, and obviously by phone. So, and obviously I'm starting into next week. Well, we're started now, just finishing up my preview of my job at the moment. But I'll be on the road soon enough. I have the golf clubs in the boot, so any breeders that want to have a bit of a hit round, give them if they can beat me, we might do a deal for them. If they can't, they'll have to pay full price.
You want to be careful. Andrew is convalescing. He might be just sitting there watching this. He'll be ready to go. He's kidding.
I'll back my chances. I'll take my chances.
I've heard Cameron's a pretty handy golfer, so I think we should be right there.
Well, I'm not coming out to take him on. That is for sure.
You might be in the Woodlands Stud golf team next time we come around to the Jewels if you get over. So you never know.
I could handle that. I better get the clubs out and start swinging them. Actually,
you got a year to make the team. So
and
right.
Stace, everyone knows how to get in touch with you through all the socials and the likes, but definitely for the website, it's woodlands.co.nz, and all the update. It's a brilliant website. It gets updated all the time when you bring in yearlings and the likes for the sales. They go in there, the pictures go in there, but all the updates on the stallions as well.
Yeah, woodlandstud.co.nz, but I'm sure everyone has it bookmarked, so sure they'll be able to find it. And my details are on there, Mark's details are on there, and we'll get Cameron's added on there as well. So anything you need to know is pretty much on there, all the sires, prices, race videos, anything you could want. But if there is anything else you need, just sing out to either of us or any of us, and we'll be more than happy to help.
Oh, thank you. I obviously said the website wrong, but that's okay. I'm good at getting me tongue twisted. It's fine. I can't believe I have a show like this when you think about it, because I do that many mistakes. It's not funny. Hughesy, from an Australian point of view, one, you're always contactable. You love the phone, that's for sure, but you're always contactable. But the part you're reinforcing is because of Stallion limits, make sure people are aware of it, especially with American Ideal. Bettor's Delight by the sounds as well. Make sure they're across getting these horses booked in and booked in early.
Yeah, I think for those two boys, obviously Sweet Lou's in triple figure territory now for me in Australia. So won't take long for that to fill up. Like we're talking, it's the third week in June. And you know, we're 9.5 weeks away from the start of the season. So look, just keep on pushing through. We believe we've got one of the strongest stallion rosters in the Southern Hemisphere. In a results-driven business, mate, ours speaks for itself. And we're confident in the product that jumps on the plane and comes down here every year. And you know, we've got the right setup here in Australia with through Northern Rivers and Kath and her team, which is terrific. Look, I'll be on the road the next 8 or 9 weeks, hopefully, with all the borders reopening. We'll be able to get out of Dodge. Shout out to Bendigo Harness Racing Club as well, who we've signed a sponsorship deal with. We've put a sign on the track there for Lather Up, which I believe goes up tomorrow afternoon. It's another club we're involved here in Bendigo. And then we're going to run a couple of pacing series for Lather Up for the fillies and mares in Victoria and New South Wales through August and early September, with a free service in each state to him as well. So we're, as always, backing ourselves in, but supporting the industry as well, which is what we do. We're aware of events here in Australia that have gone on in the last 30 days regarding stallion tax, and very common sense outcome there in the finish, but we're also wise to know that having the ideas being parked, we'll have HRA in our rearview mirror going forward as well, with that particular decision. So certainly a lot to look forward to, mate. It's great to be back on the air, and breeding season's not far away.
I took the mickey out of you before, saying that I got to see Lather Up before you. I got to see Lather Up before most of the state. I was very fortunate in that sense. I thoroughly recommend people make the trip to CAFs once the boys arrive. Don't go now, you'll be very disappointed. But make the trip and get yourself there to see them, because he's a ripper. He just looks like a nugget. That's what I reckon he's like. He's just a lovely, lovely horse, and he's got a lot of character. An American Ideal. Even if you don't book in, you should go and have a look at him, because he's an awesome dude to look at, actually, American Ideal. So yeah, make sure you get there to Northern Rivers. And if you're in New Zealand, one thing I want to do, Stace, before I let you go, I actually want to come over and see the King. That's one of those things I've got to put on the bucket list. Andrew, if you're watching, you can fly me over as soon as he lands, and that'd be great, mate. But I definitely want to get out there and see him.
Yeah, people are actually, it's quite funny, people are quite underwhelmed when they see Bettor's Delight in the flesh. I don't know what they expect to see, whether it's this big giant horse or what have you, but I mean, he is smaller, and he's got, he's rotund, but he's nothing special to look at, but still, just to see him in the flesh, you can't beat that. I myself am excited to get over to Victoria, hopefully, provided you guys keep COVID at bay, so that I can see Lather Up. Obviously, I saw American Ideal when he used to stand over here, but yeah, I'm keen to come over and see Lather Up at some stage. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll go smoothly, and we can get over there as well. And I'm sure Andrew and even Paul and Mary Kenny, they'll all be itching to get over.
No, well, hopefully they get things on the right track. I'm not sure why you were looking at me like that when you said small, underwhelming, sort of rotund. I'm not sure exactly where you were going with that. I'm not 100% sure. So hopefully it was just a glitch in the technology that we're using at the minute. Hopefully that's all it was, Stacey. I'm hoping. Cameron,
definitely.
Cameron, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to actually do a bit more with you going forward, mate. I'll do a few things going forward with the New Zealand show, but I look forward to chatting with you. Stace, as always, love it. Unfortunately, I don't get a kiss goodbye this time, but that's okay. When you come to Australia, it'll be fine. We'll definitely catch up. And Mark Hughes, don't want a kiss goodbye from you, mate. I'm more than happy not to see too much of you.
Outstanding. That's yeah. That sums it right up, our relationship. All good. And a big shout out to our boss, who's in isolation, apparently.
Yes, yes, he's sitting back enjoying life at the minute. He'd be watching this cringing right at the minute, that's for sure. Go to
He's
Woodlands.
very dirty on the Australians, apparently. So
He's what?
he's very dirty on the Australians at the moment.
Except for you and I and half of Stacey.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Woodlands.
Safe, make good choices.
Sorry?
Stay safe over there, Andrew, and make good choices.
He'll be drinking a lot of wine. Thank you very much for everyone that's tuned in and watched the show. Go to woodlandsstud.co.nz. That's woodlandsstud.co. There's no NZ on the end of that, is there? It's just woodlandsstud.co.nz. Am I right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Stace. Go to woodlandsstud.co.nz for all the updates. Thank you very much. Cameron, Stacey, Mark, I've really appreciated the time. Thanks for joining Campbell's Comments, and we'll be doing a few more harebrained ideas, I think, this season. So thank you very much, guys.
Thanks,
Paul.
Paul.